Hello everyone, I hope you're well. I'm going to do a book review of The Chaos of Standing Still. This is by Jessica Brody. This can be a completely spoiler-free book review. I'm going to give my thoughts, go into a bit of discussion, and then I have a comment from two of you that have read this book. So The Chaos of Standing Still is a really popular YA book on BookTube, and I do realise that the majority of BookTube channels, all they talk about is YA. That's the only genre that they read. But around Christmas time, a lot of the big BookTube channels on their top 10 books to read around Christmas, top 10 books about winter, were all to do with this book. They all had this book in their lists, and I kept watching their videos and seeing this book crop up, so I thought I would give it a read. I've been in a little bit of a book slump, so that's why I haven't finished it earlier. So the plot of this book is about a girl called Rin and a boy called Xander. So the story really focuses around Rin. Rin is stuck at the airport on New Year's Eve, and all the planes have been cancelled because there's a massive snowstorm. So I think that's why people say read it around Christmas time, because it's set near New Year's and there's this snowstorm, so it's kind of a cozy read, although it's not a cozy read at all. Let me get into it. So Rin's stuck at the airport. This guy called Xander, she bumps into him, they accidentally swap phones, and then they find each other in the airport, and it's about their kind of friendship that's blossoming in the airport. Also though, Rin's best friend Lottie has just died. So since Lottie's death, she has one text message from Lottie that she has not answered, and it's on her phone. She has not opened it, she doesn't know what it says, she has no idea, and so that's why she's so desperate to get her phone back from Xander, is because it has this unread text message from Lottie. And the whole idea of her keeping this message unread is that she feels, if I can keep this message from opening it, then maybe Lottie won't be dead, maybe a bit of her can still be alive, this message within my phone of her. And then it goes into Xander some more. We find out about his backstory, who's this mysterious guy that she's hanging out with. They're having this very like wanderlust, playing games, being silly with each other. They're stuck at the airport because of the snowstorm, but then it's also going into Rin's grief. It's going back in time to Rin and Lottie's friendship and how Lottie dies and how Rin really feels about the whole situation, and goes into her relationship with her parents and her therapist. There is loads of different storylines within this. It's not just one. Obviously you've got present day, which is Rin and Xander and their friendship, but then you've also got Lottie still talks to Rin, so sometimes Rin can actually hear Lottie's voice, and then it goes back to her and Lottie's friendship when Lottie was still alive. There's just so much going on within it, and it's about the inner turmoil of grief that Rin is feeling. I really enjoyed this book. I thought this was a really good book about grief. I enjoyed it. It reminded me of Love Letters to the Dead, which I love that book. That's a YA book. I absolutely adore that book. And it had this same kind of feeling about it of someone's gone and you miss them and you can never get them back and you're angry, and how grief follows you for the rest of your life, which is something that I personally agree with. A lot of people have different opinions on grief, but I think grief is something that never actually leaves you. You have it for the rest of your life. A part of you is missing because that loved one is no longer here, and when you've thought about your future, you've thought about, you know, when you have your first child, that they're gonna be there and see the child, and when they're not there, every milestone you have within life, you re-grieve them. So around Christmas time, I find that quite difficult, thinking about the people who are no longer here at Christmas time, remembering memories with them, but you always keep that grief in you. But Rin isn't coming to terms with the grief at all. She's just trying to suppress it, so not deal with it in any kind of way, not cry anytime she, sorry, it's my aquarium. My aquarium's just like going off over there. But every time she feels any kind of emotion, she suppresses it because she doesn't want Lottie to be dead. She doesn't want to go through the stages of grief. I liked her and Xander, and how we find out more about Xander's life and what's going on with him, and the funny games they were playing at the airport, because there is a real romance within this. Obviously you've got this devastating story about grief and losing a best friend, which I've never had that, thank God. I can't imagine the grief you go through of losing your best friend. And then she's flirting with this boy Xander, Xander, and she's thinking, oh, what would Lottie do in this situation? And no, I can't let him in because I can't let anyone in because I can't deal with emotions. And it's about letting go, that sometimes you have to let grief happen to you, is what I kind of took from the story, is that grief will always live within you, it will always be there, but you have to feel those emotions and allow yourself to feel those emotions as well. There were loads of moments within it that I was like, oh, that's so cute, or oh, that's so sad. That really made me think about things. I enjoyed the book. I thought it was a good book. I did enjoy it. I have 2 reviews from 2 of you, so I'm just going to look on my phone for them. And they are ones where I posted pictures on Instagram. Here's me doing a sock pic on Instagram. You know how everyone on Bookstagram always has like really snuggly socks and they do really cool images, and so I thought I'd like take the mick and do my own. So I have that one, I have that one with my toes out, and then I have my favourite one, this one with my feet as hands there. But I said, has anyone read this? And I have a review from Lala Moni, who says, just finished the book today. I actually read a good chunk of it on a plane and at the airport, coincidentally. Can't say I loved it or hated it. Oh, it was an okay read, but nothing mind-blowing. Oh, so you're kind of like, meh, it was a meh read. It was kind of, eh. Yeah, I've read a lot of books like that in my life, I feel. I feel the majority of books that I've read in my life, I haven't loved, haven't hated. I've just been like, I'm not going to remember this. This isn't memorable enough for me to really think about. I liked this though. I thought it was cute. I thought it doesn't go like deep into grief, but I thought it was cute. There were shocking moments within it when she was talking about certain things. I thought it was an okay, good read, but you're kind of, you know, indifferent about it, which I think is always better to be like, nah, that's not going to stick with me, than be like, I hate that book. I've wasted my time with it. I really enjoyed getting deep into Ren's feelings. Yes, so did I. Even though she was acting bonkers, I could understand where she was coming from and why she is holding on to that message. Xander, on the other hand, oh, you got beef with Xander. Xander, on the other hand, felt kind of flat. Okay, like he, look at me trying to get drama out of this. I'm just gonna put the book over there. Trying to get like drama out of this comment, like, oh, and you're like, no, he just felt flat. Okay, I'll stop being dramatic. Felt flat, like he was only there to enable Rin's character to develop. The middle part dragged a bit and the ending felt a bit rushed. I didn't understand the whole side story with conspiracy theories. Oh my god, I completely forgot about that. Oh my god. Oh my god, I completely forgot. That chapter really felt pointless to me. Thank you for your review. Oh my god, I completely forgot. So there's this whole other sub story. Obviously it wasn't that important to me. There's this whole other sub story about, there's this boy who is at the airport and she pretends to be his sister so that he doesn't have to stay with an attendant at the airport, that she's going to look after this child. I have no idea why you would do that, why you would want to take on a child, I don't know. But she does it at the airport so that he can hang out with her, but then she doesn't end up looking after him or hanging out with him and he goes off by himself. Very odd. So anyways, she says I'll look after him. He's a child prodigy. And then he's linking all the artworks and symbols in the airport to the Illuminati, or maybe the Freemasons, or maybe the government, and maybe there's some kind of conspiracy to end the world, and there's a bunker in the luggage terminals. This is what he thinks. Like, this isn't proved or anything in the book. It's just this boy who's a child prodigy, and that's the last chapter, one of the last chapters of the book. It's not the last chapter, but it's like one before the last, I believe, where she's going on this conspiracy hunt with him. So they're looking at the artworks and then he just, it's just kind of nothing. I totally get what you mean. I completely forgot. I can't believe it. Like, I've only just finished the book a few days ago and that completely went from my mind, because I agree with you, that had no importance to the book. That's why I love reading out your reviews, because you pick up on things that I've forgotten, or I've forgotten to mention in the video. Oh yeah, that whole sub story, I didn't enjoy that at all. I thought that was a bit, oh my god, look at me being a bookstagrammer. But yeah, that sub story conspiracy thing, no, didn't get it. Wasn't important to me. It wasn't important for my brain to even retain that information. Is it retain? Like a container, contain, whatever that is. So here's me trying to be a like bookstagrammer. Get ready for it. So I posted this picture. I've got, this is my dressing table, so I do have these flowers on it. I did have a coffee and I was like, oh, what if I prop the book up behind. So there it is there, and I said, anyone got any more reviews of this book? And I got another review from This Is All Very Interesting from that person. Enjoyed this book. I love the fact that it deals with a lot of subtle things and is more character driven. Loved Rin's friendship with Lottie as well. Yeah, I loved her friendship with Lottie, like, because they had such a close bond. I really, you know, that Lottie wasn't there anymore. They had really close bond, and to the point where they didn't have any other friends. It was really just the two of them, just best friends, the two of them. So when Lottie went, Rin's very much like, I've got nothing left because I haven't got her anymore. So I agree with that. It feels a bit flat in the first half though. Wow, that's the same as what the other comment said. So the first half, a bit flat. The first half is really her just trying to find her phone, like trying to get Xander and where's my phone, and her mum's texting her but she's not getting back to her mum's call, which I thought was a bit bratty. Then she's like, oh, my mum's texting me. Yeah, because there's a big snowstorm, she wants to check you're still alive, you selfish beast. But anyway, move on. Yeah, the first half, well, there wasn't a lot going on in it. And then the chapters with the conspiracy theory, that chapter, and any skip. This is, I didn't skip it, I read it, but in my brain must have just skipped right over and been like, nah. This is the first book that I've read about grief, and I'm glad that I picked it up. The best book, thank you for your comment, the best book I've read about grief is, YA-wise, it's probably Love Letters to the Dead. That is such a fantastic book. It's about a girl whose sister dies and she has a school assignment which she has to write letters to people who are dead, and she decides to write letters to people who have died too young. So people like Kurt Cobain, people who have died before their time because her sister died too young. Her sister died when she was young. So, but through these letters, she's not really writing to Kurt Cobain. She's talking a little bit about Kurt Cobain, but then she's going into talking about her sister and her grief for her sister and what happened to her sister. And that is an absolutely fantastic read. I did enjoy this though. To summarise this book, the chaos of standing still, I did enjoy. And also a bit I did really like is how she talks about grief when it sneaks up on you. And so she's talking about Lottie and the feeling of you being smacked into water. I really liked that. How when you think about, you know, when I look about people who, you know, I love, who have died, who I've lost, when I see something and I think, oh, she'd love that, it's very much, it's not like a warm feeling of, oh, like she would love that, that's nice and warm. Like sometimes it can feel like someone's throwing you into freezing cold water and you're burning and you're cold and your eyes start to sting. Like it's a really vicious feeling sometimes that grief can just get you with, especially I feel around Christmas time, because I love Christmas so much. And then I remember the people that aren't here, and I remember also great Christmases that I have had with them, and then I think in the future you're never going to share another Christmas with me. I really felt that when my grandma died, that I used to stay around my grandparents' house a lot when I was a child, and they'd drive me to school. Like when I stay around their house, I used to stay like weekdays, weekends, summer holidays, all the holidays. And I remember when my grandma died and it came around to Christmas, and I was like, she's never going to be here for another Christmas. When I have my children, she's never going to meet my children. She didn't even get to meet Dom. So all the people that, you know, Dom, I would love her to meet Dom's family. Maybe, you know, if me and Dom have children, our future children, she's never going to happen, ever. It's impossible, it can never happen. And that's the very like stinging grief, that she'll never meet people. Because I feel when you plan out your life, you don't think about death. You obviously don't plan death into it. So you think, oh, when I have my kids, you know, my grandparents are going to be there and they're going to be with them. But the reality is normally they're not going to be there. And people in your life who you would love to be in your children's life because they were so beautiful in your life and loving and kind and everything, you're not going to be able to share that with your children, which is such a shame. Because I used to have so many sleepovers at my grandparents' house and they were so great, and my grandparents had teddy bears and it was just so lovely being in their house. And then my children are never going to experience that with their great-grandparents because my grandmother is no longer here. So it's a real kind of sting. So I really got that, how you feel like you're being plunged into freezing cold water and your whole body's stinging. I have been speaking for a million years. I did enjoy this. I thought it was a good read. I enjoyed it. There were real moments that kind of like touched me and I felt really sad about. They were also funny. There's comedy within it. There's a love story. It's a bit of everything going on here. It's not a short read. It's quite a long read. I think it's over 400 pages. Yeah, it's over 400 pages, this book, so it's, you know, a bit more of a long read, but I personally enjoyed it. So let me know if you have read this book, what your feelings are on it. Thank you so much to the two that gave me your comments on the book, and follow me on Instagram for me attempting to be a bookstagrammer and failing miserably, and I will see you again soon for another video.